you please view the video till last and like it, comment it, share it and subscribe it. This video is on micrometers. This is a precision instruments. So you will want to know what are some of the requirements of the precision measuring instrument. A precision measuring instrument should conform to the following requirements. Number one, it must be able to measure externally and internally to within 1/10,000 0.0001 of an inch. Number two, it must be of such design as to be used directly on the work to eliminate the possibility of error in transferring accurate measurements. Number three, it must give the same result any number of times in the hands of different mechanics. Number four, it must be self-checking so that error due to wear, accident or abuse may be readily discovered. Number five, the materials from which it is made must be seasoned and stabilized to reduce to a minimum errors in accuracy due to the changes that take place normally in metals. Now number six, it must have an established reputation for accuracy that is accepted by the manufacturer and the customer. Now micrometers. Special instruments have been invented and designed so that precision dimensions may be accurately measured. The most common precision instrument is the micrometer caliper. It was invented by Jean Palmer, a Frenchman, in 1848. It was introduced in the United States in 1867. When J.R. Brown and L. Sharp returned from a visit to the Paris exposition with a Palmer micrometer caliper, the figure is from this measurement they developed the predecessors of the modern micrometers, which are offered to the public in 1877. Now this figure. In 1885, the same man introduced a new model which is almost identical with those in use today. Compared with the rule, the micrometer is a newcomer in the field of measurement. The regular micrometer, usually referred to in the shop as a mic, is used for measuring outside dimensions. It is available in many sizes. There are several other types of micrometers, but all follow the same fundamental principle. As we say, these are referred to mic is probably the most commonly used precision measuring tool. Standard micrometer designed to take readings from 0 to 1 inches is shown in this figure. In this figure, there is the different parts is also shown, such as frame and wheel, spindle, hub and thimble. In general, the use of this presents little difficulty, but a certain degree of skill and appreciation of their precision construction is required. If accurate measurement is to be attained, in common with all precision measuring instruments, considerable care is necessary in handling them to avoid unnecessary and costly depreciation. Micrometer instruments manufactured in the United Kingdom should conform with the requirements of British Standard 870, external micrometer British Standard 5959, internal micrometers in bracket including stick micrometers, and British Standard 1734 micrometer heads. It should be appreciated that the degree of accuracy in using these instruments is governed by the permitted tolerances in the standards. For example, the maximum permissible error ranges in the traverse of micrometer screws is 0 to 0.0001 inches or 0.003 millimeter. For British and metric reading micrometers measuring up to 12 inches or 300 millimeter and 0 to 0.0002 inches or 0.005 millimeter. Instrument measuring 12 to 24 inches or 300 to 600 millimeters. In addition to the standard external and internal micrometers, there are other specially adapted instruments for various other tasks of measurements, and some of these are described later on. Now, information on measuring instrument of the vernier type was given earlier. Now, principle of a micrometer screw. With vernier caliper ordinarily available in the laboratory, we measure length correct up to 0.01 centimeter. When lengths are to be measured with greater accuracy, say up to 0.001 centimeter, screw gauge and spherometer are based on the principle of micrometer screw. If an accurately cut single-threaded screw is rotated in a closely fitted nut, having evenly spaced threads matching the threading on the screw, then in addition to the cylinder motion of the screw, there is a linear motion of screw head in the forward or backward direction along the axis of the screw. The linear distance moved by the screw when it gives one complete rotation is equal to the distance between two consecutive threads as measured along the axis of the screw. This distance is called pitch of the screw and is represented by small p. In most of the cases, I will give you the figure. In most of the cases, it is either 1 millimeter or 0.5 millimeter. A circular cap or disc is fixed on one end of the screw of the circumference of the cap or disc. It normally divided into 100 or 50 equal parts. It is divided into 100 equal parts, then the screw moves forward or backward by 1 by 100 of the pitch of the circular scale is rotated through one circular scale division. It is minimum distance which can be accurately measured and so is called the least count of the screw. Therefore, least count equals to pitch by number of divisions on the circular scale. Here I am giving the metric as well as British one also. So inches in also in inches and also in millimeter of the micrometer, but here I am discussing about the millimeter one. If each one is 1 millimeter and there are 100 divisions on circular scale, then least count equals to 1 millimeter by 100, that is equals to 0.01 millimeter, which is equals to 0.001 centimeter, which is equals to 0.0001 millimeter, not meter, sorry, 0.00001 meter, which is equals to 10 to power minus 5 meter, or equals to 10 to power 10 nanometer. Since least count of the order of 10 nanometer, so the screw is called the micrometer screw. Screw gauge and the spherometer, which work on the principle of micrometer screw, consist essentially of the following two scales. Number 1, linear or pitch scale. It is a scale running parallel to the axis of the screw. It is graduated into millimeter or half millimeter. Number 2, circular or held scale. It is marked on the circumference of the circular disc or the cap attached to the screw. Now, screw gauge. Screw gauge works on the principle of a micrometer screw. It consists of a U-shaped metal frame, M, capital M. At one end of the frame, capital M, a small solid piece A made up of gunmetal is fixed. It is called stud and it has a plain face. The other end, capital M, of M carries a cylindrical hub, H. The hub extends few millimeter beyond the end of the frame. On the cylindrical hub along its axis is drawn a line known as reference line. On the reference line, graduations are in millimeters and half millimeter. At millimeters is drawn a line known as reference line. On the reference line, graduation are in millimeter and half millimeter depending upon the pitch of the screw. This scale is called linear scale or pitch scale. A nut is threaded through the hub and the frame, capital N. Through the nut moves a screw S made up of gunmetal. The front face B of the screw facing the plane face A is also plane. A hollow cylindrical cap K, capital K, is capable of rotating over the hub when screw is rotated. It is attached to the right hand end of the screw. As the cap is rotated, the screw either moves in or out. The leveled circular surface E of the cap K is divided into 50 or 100 equal parts. It is called the circular scale or head scale. Right hand and R or K is milled for proper grip and called rechecked. In most of the instrument, the milled head R is not fixed to the screw head but turns it by a spring and ratchet arrangements, such that when the body is just held between faces A and B, the spring yields and milled head R turns without moving in the screw. In an accurately adjusted instrument, when the faces A and B are just touching each other, the zero marks of circular scale and pitch scale exactly coincide. Now, what is zero error and zero correction in this micrometer? In some instruments, either due to wear and tear or due to manufacturing defect, the zero mark of circular scale does not coincide with the zero of the pitch scale when the faces A and B are just touching each other. Such instrument possesses zero error and zero correction. If the zero of the circular scale advances beyond the reference line, the zero error is negative and zero correction is positive. If it is left behind the reference line, the zero error is positive and zero correction is negative. Now example, if zero of circular scale advances beyond the reference line by 3 divisions, zero correction equals to +3 into least count. And if the zero of the circular scale is left behind the reference line by 3 divisions, zero correction equals to -3 into least count. Now backlash bearing. On account of wear and tear or loose fitting, there is some space left for the play between the screw and the nut. In such instrument, if the screw is advanced by turning it in one direction and then it is rotated back, the screw may not move along the axis of the appreciable rotation of the head. The error due to it is called backlash error of the screw. To reduce this error, the screw must always be rotated on the same direction for a particular set of observations. Now determination of pitch, least count and zero error of screw gauge. Number 1, determination of pitch and least count. Pitch is the linear distance traveled by screw in one complete rotation and is equal to the distance between two consecutive threads. Note the value of the linear, that is in bracket pitch scale division, rotate screw to bring zero mark on circular, that is in bracket head scale of reference line. Note the number of divisions on linear scale uncovered by the cap. Now give the screw a few known numbers of rotation. In bracket 1 rotation is completed when zero of circular scale again arrives on the reference line. Again note the linear scale reading. Find difference of two readings on linear scale to find distance moved by the screw. Then pitch of the screw equals to distance moved by the screw by number of full rotations given, that is equals to 5 by 5 equals to 1 millimeter. Now count the total number of division on circular head, that is bracket head scale. Then least count equals to pitch by total number of division in the circular scale, that is equals to 1 by 100, which is equals to 0.01 millimeter. The least count is generally 0.001 centimeter. Now number 2, determination of zero error and zero correction. For this purpose, the screw is rotated forward till plane face B of the screw just touches the fixed plane face A of the stud, and edge of cap comes on zero mark of linear scale. Screw gauge is held keeping the linear scale vertical with its zero downwards. One of the following three situations will arise. Number 1, zero mark of circular scale comes on the reference line. In this case, zero error and zero correction both are nil. Actual thickness equals to observed, that is in bracket measured thickness. Now number 2, zero mark of circular scale remains on right of reference line and does not cross it. Here I will give you a figure. Here second division on circular scale comes on reference line. Zero reading is already 0.02 millimeter. It makes zero error plus 0.02 millimeter and zero correction minus 0.02 millimeter. Actual thickness will be 0.02 millimeter less than the observed, that is in bracket measured thickness. Number 3, zero mark of circular scale goes to left of reference line after crossing it. Here zero of circular scale has advanced from reference line by 3 division on circular scale. A backward rotation by 0.03 millimeter will make reading 0. It makes zero error 0.03 millimeter and zero correction plus 0.03 millimeter. Actual thickness will be 0.03 millimeter more than observed, that is in bracket measured thickness. Now what are the graduations of a micrometer? The graduations on the sleeve of the micrometers are 25 thousandths, 0.025 of an inch apart. Every fourth division on the sleeve is marked with a number from 0 to 10, thus identifying each 1/10th of an inch. See, there are graduations either in millimeters or in inch, two different systems, thus identifying 1/10th of an inch or 100,000 of. Earlier I discussed of millimeters, here I am discussing about the inch. Here 0.100, each of the numbers in red as if two zeros were, because they are of two different systems. Two zeros were added to each one as 0.400 shown in the figure. The graduations of the thimble represent divisions of 1000, that is 0.001 of an inch. This is determined as follows. The edge of the thimble coincides with the 0 on the sleeve when the micrometer is closed. Each time the thimble is turned one revolution, it moves along the sleeves one graduation or 0.025 inches. The circular edge of the thimble has 25 equal divisions etched on it. So when the thimble is revolved just enough to equal one of the divisions, it has moved along the sleeve 1/25th, that is 1/25 of 25 thousandths, which is 1000, that is 0.001 of an inch. In some micrometers, only every fifth division is numbered. Now questions arises, why does the thimble of a micrometer move along the sleeve exactly 25 thousandths, that is 0.025 of an inch for each complete revolution of the thimble? The inside of the micrometer is threaded so that each time the thimble is turned, it moves along the sleeve in the same manner as knot on a bolt. These threads are made for 40 to an inch. So when the thimble is revolved one complete revolution, it moves along the sleeve 1/40th, that is 1/40 of an inch, which equals the decimal fractions of 25 thousandths, that is 0.025 of an inch. Now how we read the graduations on a micrometer? The graduation exposed on the sleeve are read first the numbers as hundreds, to which added 25 for each of the remaining whole division, plus the actual number of divisions on the thickness on the thimble which have passed the revolution line. The reading in shown in the figure is 200 plus 25 plus 16, a total of 241 thousandths of an inch. In this figure, the division of the sleeve passed in the figure 2 is not complete division. So the reading is 200 on the sleeve, plus 24 on the thimble, a total of 224 thousandths of an inch. In practice, after the micrometer has been adjusted to fit the work to be measured, the size may be read while it is still on the work, or it may be removed, care being taken to avoid moving the thimble. See, reading I will be giving you more books and more clear for the measurements in inches, measurement in millimeters, and all those of that two systems. But whatever these are given in this book, I am giving you. How is a micrometer held and adjusted to measure a piece of work? The work may be in one hand and the micrometer in the other, as shown in the figure. If the work is supported as one on the lathe that is in this figure, it may be more convenient to use both hands. The thimble should be turned gently until the spindle on the anvil of the micrometer just does the work. One should be able to feel the contact on both sides. Do not force the spindle against the work to grip it, as it with clamp it is common practice to revolve the micrometer back and forth a little on the work to make sure that a correct measurement is made. Now, what is a ratchet stop on a micrometer? A ratchet stop as I had given in the parts of the figure, is a device that prevents the use of too much pressure when adjusting a micrometer on a part to be measured. The ratchet prevents further turning of the thimble after the correct amount of pressure has been applied to the spindle to get an accurate measurement. Now, can dimensions be accurately measured with a micrometer when the permissible variation is less than 1000, that is 0.001 of an inch? Yes, with no ordinary micrometers it is possible to estimate one half of 1000, that is 0.0005 of an inch, when the revolution line on the sleeve comes in between two divisions line on the thimble. For accurate measurements or less than 1000 of an inch, 0.001, a micrometer with a vernier scale on the sleeve should be used. Now describe the vernier scale of a micrometer. The vernier scale of micrometer consists of 11 graduations, that is in bracket 10 equal divisions as on the sleeve of the micrometer, number 0, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 0. The 10 division equal to in space 9 division of the thimble, which represent 9 thousandths of an inch, that is in bracket 0.009. Each division on the vernier scale represents 9/10 thousandths of an inch, that is in bracket 0.0009. The difference between one of the divisions on the thimble and one of those on the vernier scale is 0.0001 or 1/10,000 of an inch. Now explain how the vernier scale graduations of a micrometer are read. When the first and last lines of the vernier scale coincide with the lines of the thimble, as at A and B. Here I will give you a figure. It indicates that the reading made is the ordinary way is accurate. In this case, it is 0.250. If one of the other lines on the vernier scale coincide with one of the lines on the thimble as at C in this figure, then the number of vernier line indicates how many 10 thousandths of an inch should be added to the original reading in the case. Line 7 is the one that coincide with one of the lines on the thimble, so 7/10,000 0.0007 should be added, making the correct reading 0.2507 of an inch. On the standard external micrometer, here there is the figure which illustrates the typical standard types of micrometer for the measurement of external dimensions. The main components of the instruments are the frame, anvil, barrel sleeve or in bracket or thimble and the spindle. The jaws of the frame are usually machined to receive the anvil in bracket, which is usually a press fit, and the barrel, which is frequently fitted into the frame with a fit which permits rotational adjustment by spanner or special key. This adjustment we will discuss in later on. Now the barrel is engraved with a graduated scale equal in length to the measuring range of the instrument, that is in bracket usually 1 inches or 25 millimeter, and is bored and internally screwed with, which is machined with a matching male thread. An integral sleeve assembly, and this is usually knurled at the outer end of to facilitate easy finger operation. The inner end of the sleeve is beveled to prevent barrel scale shadows, and the beveled portion is graduated into equal divisions around its periphery. Now, number 2, some micrometers may have a fixed barrel and a removable or adjustable anvil, which might be located by a grub screw or a pin. Others may be equipped with a spindle locking device as illustrated, which when used ensures that the instrument remains set at any specific dimensions or reading. The spindle attachment containing a spring-loaded ratchet, also illustrated, is a common fitment, and this produces preset feel to the operation of the instrument. Many micrometers are provided with tungsten or carbide tipped anvil and spindles to reduce wear one of the measuring faces. Note: British Standard 870 prescribes that when a friction or ratchet attachment is fitted to the spindle, the force it exerts between the measuring faces shall be between 1/4 to 1/4. Now number 3, the details of micrometers for the measurement of British dimension is given in coming paragraph, which we will discuss, which those of measure of metric measurement are covered in another paragraph. Note: some instruments not to British standard, although quite accurate, may not be provided with the general means of adjustment. Due allowance for zero error, we will discuss for that. Made therefore be made, and the error must be added to all measurement made. Now note: the British standard prescribes the micrometer from up to 4 inches shall be of a suitable quality of steel. Those above 4 inches and up to 12 inches may be of a suitable quality of steel or malleable cast iron, and those above 12 inches may be of suitable steel, malleable cast iron or light alloy. The standard recommends that suitable heat insulating grips should be attached to the frame in convenient position, and that frame should be heat treated to avoid circular changes that might take place in the material. Now number 3 is the internal micrometer. Internal micrometers are designed for internal measurements only. There are 2 common categories: the hand measuring or stick type and the 3-point measuring type. Both of these measures internal dimensions with the same systems of graduations as the standard micrometer. We will go further for discussion for these 2 in further paragraph. Now, hand measuring or stick micrometers. These instruments are usually available in combination form and consist of a measuring head, that is in bracket similar to the standard type barrel and sleeve, and sets of extension rods, which fits into the barrel to give various stages of measurements over the total range. Common sets are provided with 3, 5 or 9 extension rods, and in most of these forest auxiliary handle to be included, which can be screwed into the side of the barrel to enable check measurements to be made at the extreme ends of deep bores, etc. Note: one manufacturing range consists of a combination sets for measurement of 1 to 2 inches, 1 to 3 inches, 2 to 6, 2 to 8, 2 to 12, 8 to 32, 12 to 36, 12 to 48, 35 to 52, 36 to 60, and 52 to 72 inches. An anvil is located on the head of the sleeve and the outer end of each extension rod, and these are usually adjustable for bear on the anvil faces. Now 3-point micrometers. This type of internal micrometers incorporates 3 measuring anvils which are coaxially mounted in a measuring head at 120 degrees to each other. The feature of 3-point contacts ensure greater accuracy in the measurement of internal dimension. Generally, the larger type of micrometer head we will discuss later on with 250 divisions is embodied in enable the final measurements to 1/10,000, that is 0.0001 of an inch to be made with the more convenient and simplest method of reading. The sleeve and spindle operation is similar to that of standard types, but the longitudinal spindle movement is transferred to axial anvil movement, and in operation the barrel axis of the instrument will coincide with that of the hole or bore being measured. Note: some of these instruments may be provided with 50 divisions sleeves and barrels having a vernier scale, we will discuss later on, whilst others may have 100 divisions sleeve scales only with a measurements accuracy of 2/10,000, that is 0.0002 of an inch. Now the anvil, which I will give you the figure, are housed in a 3-legged measuring head with a central attachment lug on one side and a detachable screwed cap on the other, and the lug is internally threaded for attachment to the screwed barrel. The spindle incorporates a threaded propelling flange and conical measuring thread at the anvil end, and is threaded and locked into the head of the sleeve at the outer end. A spindle bearing is provided in the barrel at the sleeve end, and a ratchet attachment is embodied in the outer end of the sleeve. The inner ends of the anvils are angled and screw cut to suit the conical measuring thread, and coil spring fitted inside the cap ensure constant contact between these components. Spindle movement is arranged through the engagement of the propelling flange with the internal threads of the measuring head lug. Note: for better results in the measurements of ovality, some micrometers of this type have anvils set at unequal angles, and the manufacturer often define the best operation method together with relevant formula and calculations. Now see, there are the micrometer system, the British system. In the British micrometer, the spindle and barrel threads have a pitch of 0.025 inches, that is 40 thread per inches TPI. Thus one completes turn of the spindle and sleeve will increase or decrease the distance between the anvils and spindle by 0.025 inches, that is 1/20 25 inches with left and right turning respectively. The barrel in bracket or main scale is graduated into tenths 0.10 and 14th 0.025 of an inch, whilst the sleeve or in bracket or thimble scale consists of 25 equal division. If the spindle is advanced or withdrawn by rotary movement equal to one sleeve graduation, then the distance between the measuring faces is decreased or increased by the thousandths, that is 0.001 of an inch. The micrometer measurement reading is equivalent to the total number of thousandths of an inch indicated by that sleeve scale graduation, which is coincident with the barrel scale time, datum or fiducial line. Now to read the dimensions recorded, the visible barrel scale graduations in 10th and 14th are noted, and to the figure is added the number of thousandths shown on the sleeve scale at the intersection with the barrel scale line. Now I will give the figure as an example. The barrel scale shows 2 tenths and 3 14ths. That is 0.200 plus 0.075, and the sleeve scale shows the 3 thousandths line agreeing with the barrel scale line. Thus 0.200 plus 0.75 plus 0.003 equals to 0.278 inches, which is equivalent to the distance between the anvil and the spindle and faces. When a sleeve scale graduation is not exactly coincident, the represent thousandths, that is 0.001 graduation to be read in the immediately below the datum line. When a finer measurement is required, an estimation of a half 0.0005 or a quarter thousand, that is 0.00025 of an inch can be made for the additional part graduation visible below the datum line, and this can be added to the dimensional figure. Now the metric system. In the metric micrometer, the spindle and barrel threads have a pitch of 0.5 mm. This I have discussed earlier about these millimeters, the metric system given also. Thus one complete turn of the spindle and sleeve will increase or decrease the distance between the anvil and the spindle by this amount. The barrel scale, I will give you the figure, is graduated into 25 division of 1 millimeter, and usually every fifth division is numbered to multiple of 5. The millimeter divisions are subdivided into half millimeter, that is 0.5 millimeter, and the sleeve is graduated into 50 equal division. Thus the movement of the sleeve equals to one sleeve division equals 0.5 by 50 or 0.01 millimeter. Now to read the micrometer, the highest figure on the barrel scale is noted together with any additional visible half millimeter division. To this is added the number of hundredths of a millimeter, which are indicated by the coincident sleeve and datum lines. Thus the reading of the metric micrometer scales depicted in figure equals 5 millimeter plus 0.50 millimeter plus 0.14 millimeter, which equals to 5.64 millimeter. Now vernier scale micrometers with a additional scale based in the vernier principle are in common use, and these have a greater degree of adjustment accuracy of 1/10,000 0.0001 part of an inch. The following paragraphs are necessary. Thus, attach thousands real reading in used, and this is added the coincident vernier scale reading the 10,000ths of, that is 0.0001 of an inch. Generally, vernier scale micrometers sleeves are graduated into 25 division and 25 half divisions. A convenient vernier scale length equals to 9 half divisions of the sleeve scale is divided equally into 5 vernier scale divisions, and these are engraved on the barrel above and parallel to and the full extent of the datum line. Thus, the vernier scale length is equal to 9 half divisions on the sleeve, that is 0.00045 inches. It follows that the difference in width between each sleeve division, that is 2 half division, and each barrel division is 1/5 of a sleeve division. At each sleeve division is representative of 0.005 inches. The difference is therefore 0.0001 inches. Now, when a sleeve graduation line does not coincide with the datum line, it is necessary to note the vernier scale division which does coincide and to add the number of 10,000, that is 0.0001 of an inch to the standard thousand reading. In the figure, for example, the barrel scale shows 4/10 and 2/14, that is 0.400 plus 0.500 plus 0.0500, and the sleeve division below the datum line is 0.0190. There is a line of 0.0004. The micrometer reading is therefore 0.4000 plus 0.0500 plus 0.0190 plus 0.0005 plus 0.0004, which equals to 0.4699 inches. Now, oblique graduations. Some micrometers may be manufactured with the barrel scale graduation which are oblique to the datum line. These may be additional, in which case the normal, parallel and the oblique graduations are engraved above and below the datum line respectively. Oblique graduation prevent manufacture miscalculation is reading the instrument. The following barrel scale graduations line is always visible, at least in part, in any position of the sleeve. We have discussed earlier also that what are the some of the reasons why measurements made with a micrometer are not accurate. The most common reason is failure to make sure that the work to be measured and the faces of the anvil and spindle of the micrometer are clean. Another reason is that the micrometer being used may need adjustment due to wear or careless handling. A third reason is lack of care on the part of the workman in reading the graduations. We have also gone through the inside micrometer. An inside micrometer is designed with the same graduation as an outside micrometer, and it is adjusted by revolving the thimble in the same way. It is used for making internal measurements where greater accuracy is required than can be obtained with inside calipers or telescopic gauge. It is available in many sizes. The figure shows an inside micrometer in use, and the another figure shows a inside micrometer caliper. Now in the types of micrometer, first we will go for the other than the standard type of micrometer for measurement of external dimension in British or metric measurement. There are several other types of a special category for various manufacturing process, curve profiles, and for the measurement of soft materials, etc. Some of more common of these and their particular applications are described in the following paragraphs. Now, number one is variable range micrometers. These instruments are made with large frames, and a set of detachable anvils is provided to cover each stage of measurement throughout the total range. Ranges are various, but common examples are 0 to 6 inches, 0 to 12 inches, 12 to 14 2 inches, 0 to 50 millimeter, 200 to 300 millimeter, and 900 to 1050 millimeter. Stages of measurements are generally of 1 inch or 25 millimeter. It will be appreciated that the shortest anvil will be fitted for the longest measurements and the longest anvil for the shortest. Various methods of anvil locations are employed, but most anvils are provided with a flange or shoulder which abuts the frame face, and this ensures that the basic anvil setting is correct with the anvil is fitted. Second is recess micrometers. This type is similar to standard instruments except that it is provided with a long anvil to facilitate the measurement of recessed dimensions. The anvil and spindle diameters are frequently of much smaller diameter for use in connection with fine bores and drilling. Now next come deep frames micrometer. These micrometers are provided with deep horseshoe type frames which enables measurements to be made of dimensions at some distance from the edges of larger components, sheets and plates, etc. Note, in using this type, extreme care is required to avoid any distortion of the frame. Now ball and micrometers. In this instrument, the spindle in the anvil or both are provided with rounded end which permit the measurement of curved surface. They are particularly applicable to the weighing of ball bearing races. It is important to bear in mind, however, that the current surface being measured must be of greater radius than the anvil or oblique spindle ends, otherwise inaccurate measurements will be made. Hub micrometers. This type of micrometers has a very shallow frame which enables it to be used inside bores, recesses, etc. having internal dimensions as small as inch or less. Now disc micrometers. The standard type of micrometer is not used to the measurement of soft materials, since the spindle and anvil would tend to compress them even during applications when the spindle ratchet attachment is used. Here I will be giving you the figure. This type, which is otherwise similar to the standard, is provided with anvils and the spindles machined with integral face disc of various range diameter, example 3 by 4 inches, half inch, 1 by 4 inches and 3 by 4 inches, etc. Here more thing is to be noted. The graduations are read in the same manner as a regular micrometer. Now the tube micrometer. The micrometers are similar to the standard type except for the frame and the anvil. The frame is usually of single jaw semi or shape, and the anvil is a vertical soldered and ground spindle post fitting into the frame at 90 degree to the spindle axis. Generally, these instruments are supplied with several anvils which differ in the diameter of the measuring tip, and this features serves the instrument a wider range of tube thickness measurement. A tube micrometer is specially designed to measure the thickness of the material of piping, tubing and similar shapes. Now what is an inside micrometer, which we have discussed, but let's see. An inside micrometer is designed with the same graduation as an outside micrometer and is adjusted by revolving the thimble in the same way it is used for taking internal measurements where greater accuracy is required than can be obtained with inside caliper or telescopic gauges. It is available in many sizes. Now figure shows an inside micrometer in use and shows in inside micrometer caliper. Now what is an indicating micrometer? An indicating micrometer combines the precision of the dial indicator for the uniform contact pressure with the accuracy of the micrometer screw for measuring. The graduations on the sleeve and thimble are the same as on a regular micrometer. The indicator dial registers divisions of 1/10,000 0.0001 of an inch. In measuring with the type of micrometer, the size is noted on the sleeve in thousandths of an inch, and then the number of 10,000ths shown in the dial by the indicator finger is added. The indicating micrometer may also be used as a comparator. For the purpose, the spindle may be clamped in positions to a required dimensions. By tightening the ring nut on the spindle when it is to be used in this way, the two larger hands of the indicator are adjusted on each side of 0 to indicate the amount of variation permitted above or below the required dimensions. If the indicating finger is moved outside of the two hands, then the part being measured is too large or too small, depending upon which direction the finger moved. When measuring a number of parts of the same size, it is not necessary to turn the spindle or to force the part between the anvil and spindle. Instead, the anvil may be retracted by pressing a button as shown in figure. This saves wear on the ends of the anvil and spindle. Next is what is screw thread micrometer. Screw thread micrometer is similar to an outside micrometer except that the spindle is pointed to fit between 60 degree V threads, and the anvil is shaped to fit over a 60 degree V thread It is used to measure the pitch diameter of a thread. Screw thread micrometer are available in many sizes depending on the pitch of the thread to be measured. These instruments are similar to the standard type except that the spindle and anvil are provided with double and single points respectively for the appropriate angle for the measurement of thread dimensions of precision screw threads. The next come caliper micrometer. This type of micrometer given in the figure I will show you is particularly suited to the measurement of small internal diameter. It consists of the standard barrel and spindle assembly with an offset pair of jaws indicated by a bracket attached to the inner end of the barrel. The stationary jaws is located on the outer end of a ground spindle, and this is recessed into the barrel bracket at its inner end. The moving jaws slides on the other jaw spindle with a precision fit, and a split lug on the jaw clamps a split bush bearing in a recess machined in the end of the micrometer spindle. Some of these instruments are available with the set of removable jaws with differing rubs widths which stead and widen the measuring range of the caliper instrument. Now note here, it should be borne in mind when taking internal measurements that with instruments which give a zero reading with the jaws closed, the dimensions over the adjustment be added to the micrometer readings. Now the V-block micrometers. Drill, taps, reamers and certain cylindrical tapping tools are manufactured with 3, 5 or 7 flutes, and these micrometers are necessary for the accurate measurements of the cutting of or lapping dimensions of these tools. The micrometer are similar to the standard type except that the anvil is integral with the frame and adjacent to the spindle. The anvil is the V-shape to the appropriate angle to facilitate measurement of 3, 5 or 7 fluted tools. Now micrometer heads. As the term implies, that measuring devices are in effect the barrel, thimble and spindle of the orthodox micrometer. They are designed primarily for assembly into suitable bench brackets and set of matching extension piece of supplied with fit over the or into the micrometer head spindle to give various stages of measurement over the range. When mounted, the head with the appropriate extension piece is particularly suitable for tool setting checks for adjustable gauges and quick checkings of fixed points of measurements. Some heads may be engraved with vernier scale as given earlier for measurements to 10,000 0.0001 of an inch. Others may be provided with large diameter thimbles which are graduated into 250 division for direct scale readings, giving the same fine degree of measurement, or with an additional vernier scale, a measuring accuracy of 100,000, that is 0.00001 of an inch. To minimize wear at the measuring faces, some types of micrometers head are designed and manufactured with non-rotating spindles. Now something to be read from the Other text, the micrometer caliper, generally called the micrometer and referred to as mic, is probably the most commonly used precision measuring tool. A standard micrometer designed to take reading from 0 to 1 inches is shown in the figure. The principal parts of a micrometer are the frame and wheel, spindle, hub and thimble. By rotating the thimble, the spindle is caused to move to and from the anvil at the rate of 1 by 16 of 1 by 40 inch per turn of the thimble. Since 1/40 of an inch is equal to 0.025 inches, each full turn of the thimble will move the spindle 0.025 inch either in or out depending on the direction of rotation. The barrel or sleeve of the micrometer is marked in the division of 0.025 inches each. The beveled edge of the thimble which surrounds the barrel is marked in division of 1/25 of a revolution. Each division on this thimble represents a distance of 0.001 inches of spindle travel. The graduations on the barrel and on the thimble of a micrometer are shown in the figure. The figures on the barrel of the micrometer are spaced 0.10 inches apart. Hence, the figure 1 represents a space of 0.10 inches. The figure 2 represents 0.20 inches, etc. The micrometer scale in this figure is set to read 0.203 inches. Observe that the thimble is barely outside the graduation at the figure 2 on the barrel. Then note that the 0 mark on the thimble is 3 space below the 0 line of the barrel. If the 0 on the thimble were aligned with the 0 line on the barrel, the reading would be 0.200 inch. However, since the 0 is 3 graduations below the 0 line, 0.003 inch must be added to the reading to make a total of 0.203 inches. Now in another figure, the scales for 4 different micrometer readings are shown. Examine these settings and see it your reading so that A is 0.235, B is 0.036, C is 0.121 and D is 0.762. To develop proficiency in the use of a micrometer, the technician should obtain the use of a micrometer. The technician should obtain one and practice taking readings on a variety of small objects. These readings should be compared with similar readings taken by an experienced technician for accuracy. It will be noted that the micrometer shown in this figure has a part called the cam lock at the frame and a ratchet at the end of the thimble. The purpose of the cam lock is to lock the spindle in place after a setting has been made so that there will be no change in the reading when the micrometer is removed from the work. The purpose of the ratchet is to provide a uniform pressure for taking readings. Now the figure which I will be giving you shows the micrometer being used to take a reading on a small part and the pressure of the spindle and pressure for taking readings the micrometer being used to take a reading on a small part, and the pressure of the spindle is applied through the ratchet. The ratchet and spindle are turned to the right by means of the ratchet. It will slip, thus preventing and further pressure from being applied to the spindle. Thus the ratchet provides uniform pressure for each reading taken with the micrometer. Special micrometers are made to take readings which cannot be made with the standard micrometer. The ratchet and spindle are turned to the right by means of ratchet itself, and when the proper pressure is released, the ratchet will slip, thus preventing any further pressure from being applied to the spindle. Thus the ratchet provides uniform pressure for each reading taken with the micrometer. Special micrometers are made to take readings which cannot be made with the standard micrometer. Now the next figure shows a micrometer designed to measure the distance between a concave and a convex surface, such on the wall thickness of a tube. The next figure which I will giving you, it shows a micrometer which has a 60-degree angle on the spindle and anvil to make it suitable for measuring screw thread diameters when it is necessary to make fine measurements accurate to 0.0001 inches. A vernier micrometer is used. A micrometer with a vernier scale is shown in this figure. The reading is taken to be the nearest 1000 in the normal manner, and the 10,000 reading is taken from the vernier scale. The vernier principle is based upon the comparison of a scale of 10 division with a scale of 9 division, but having the same length as the 10 division scale. This is illustrated in this figure. It is apparent that the division in the B scale are 1/10 larger than the divisions in the A scale. On the micrometer, the B scale is on the thimble and the another scale is on the sleeve or hub. If we assume that the thimble will not turn to an even thousands measurements, then the difference will be indicated on the vernier scale. The study of figure will show that a reading of 0.1724 is indicated. This may be shown as follows: sleeve 0.150 A, thimble 0.022 B, vernier 0.0004 C. This equals to 0.1724. When the micrometer reads in even thousand of an inch, the zero line on the vernier scale is aligned with a line on the thimble scale. If the thimble scale is short of this sleeve scale, zero line by 0.0001 in the number 1 line, and on the vernier scale will be aligned with a line on the thimble scale. Thus we see that we can read the 10,000s of it, noting which of the vernier line is aligned with a thimble scale line. It must be pointed out that a micrometer is a delicate precision instrument and therefore must be handled with great care. Cases have been known in which An experienced person has used a micrometer in place of a C-clamp. This of course will usually ruin the micrometer, which will then have to be returned to the manufacturers for repair. The technician should always practice using a light touch with the micrometer and should never allow it to be dropped or thrown into a toolbox with other tools. It should be kept in its own case or should be wrapped in a soft cloth and placed in a special compartment. Now from the another text, the precision measuring tool most universally used by the A&P technician is the micrometer caliper. The instruments are used to measure the thickness of sheet metal as well as to measure the fits of almost all of the parts in an engine. A micrometer caliper has as its foundation a frame which resembles a C-clamp. On one side of the frame is a hardened and polished anvil, and on the opposite side is graduated sleeves with precision ground internal threads. Into these threads there is screwed a spindle which is turned with a thimble. The threads in a micrometer caliper are ground to extreme accuracy and have a pitch of 40 threads to an inch. One revolution of the thimble advances the spindle 25 thousandths of an inch. The sleeve is marked with a longitudinal line 1 inch long that is divided into 10 graduated marks, each 1/10 of an inch part, and between each of these marks there are 3 other marks dividing the entire inch into 40 equal increments. When the spindle is resting smoothly on the anvil, the 0 mark on the thimble is exactly I have not read this. The micrometer caliper has its foundation and frame which resembles a C-clamp. On one side of the frame is a hardened and polished anvil, and on the opposite side is a graduated sleeve with precision ground internal threads. Into these threads there are screwed a spindle which is turned with the thimble. The threads in a micrometer caliper are ground to extreme accuracy and have pitch of 40 threads to an inch. One revolution of the thimble advances the spindle 25 thousandths of an inch. The sleeve is marked with a longitudinal line 1 inch long that is divided into 10 graduated marks, each 1/10 of an inch apart, and between each of these marks there are 3 other marks dividing the entire inch into 40 equal increments. When the spindle is reading smoothly on the anvil, the 0 mark on the thimble is exactly in line with the 0 mark on the sleeve. When the 0 mark on the thimble is aligned with the longitudinal mark on the sleeve, but it's 1 mark out from 0, there is a space of 25 thousandths of an inch, 0.025 between the spindle and the anvil. 2 marks out gives us 0.050 space, 3 marks 0.075, and so on. There are 25 graduated marks around the circumference of the thimble, which allows us to find the distance between the marks on the sleeve in figure which I will be showing you. The spindle is against the anvil and there is a reading of 0 inch. In B of the same figure, the thimble is rotated out 1/1000th of an inch until the first mark on the circumference of an inch. Until the first mark on its circumference is aligned with the longitudinal mark on the sleeve, and there is 0.001 inch between the spindle and the anvil. In C, the thimble has been screwed out exactly 5 turns and there is 5 into 0.025 inch or 0.125 inch between the spindle and the anvil. In D, the thimble has moved out 7 full rounds or 0.175 inch and 12 thousandths of an inch beyond. The total space between the spindle and anvil is 0.175 inch plus 0.012 inch. or 0.87 inch. It is possible for a micrometer caliper to get out of calibration and for it to be reset. The sleeve can be slipped on the frame. The anvil and spindle are checked to be sure that they are perfectly clean and are placed together with just enough force to assure that they meet squarely. Special spanner wrench is slipped into the hole in the sleeve, and it is very carefully rotated until the longitudinal line is in exact alignment with the zero mark on the thimble. Micrometer calipers are made that measurement objects larger than 1 inch, and only the frame is different from the 0 to 1 inch mode. A micrometer that will measure between 1 and 2 inches will read 0 when the is exactly 1 inch between the spindle and the anvil. Special standard gauges are used to check the zero adjustment on these micrometers. Now, vernier micrometer caliper. Standard micrometer caliper measure instrument measure in increments of 1/1000 of an inch, and for any closer measurement a vernier micrometer must be used. The caliper is made in the same way as the standard micrometer, except that it has 11 extra lines on the sleeve. These lines are marked line, those seen in the figure. The 10 spaces between the lines take up exactly the same amount of space as 9 spaces on the thimble. When the zero mark on thimble is aligned with the longitudinal scale on the sleeve, both the zero marks on the vernier scale are aligned with marks on the thimble and on other marks on the vernier scale lines. If the scale on the sleeve is exactly halfway between two of the marks on the thimble, the line marked 5 on the vernier scale will align with a mark on the thimble. No other mark will line up. The micrometer is read in the unusual way, and 0.0005 is added to the reading. In the figure, I will show you the final reading of the vernier micrometer is 0.2435. Now, inside micrometer, a standard micrometer caliper head can be used not only as a part of an outside micrometer caliper but as an inside micrometer as well. The inside micrometer shown in the figure use a single micrometer head and a various extension to cover the range of measurement that is needed. Inside micrometer are read in exactly the same way an outside micrometer. Adjust the caliper until it is exactly the same size as the opening U, and measuring then remove it. Read the measurements indicated by the micrometer head and add the length of the extension. Now, micrometer depth gauge. The depth of the groups of or recesses in a part can be accurately measured with the micrometer depth gauge. These devices have a standard micrometer head mounted in a precision round bar. When the spindle is exactly flush with the surface of the face of the bar, it reads 0. To measure the depth of a groove or a recess, the bar is placed across the groove and the spindle screwed down until it contacts the bottom. The reading on the micrometer head indicates the depth of the groove. Now, micrometer caliper from the another text. There are 4 types of micrometer caliper, each designed for specific use. The four types are commonly called outside micrometer, inside micrometer, depth micrometer, and thread micrometer. Micrometers are available in a variety of sizes, either 0 to half inch, 0 to 1 inch, 1 to 2 inch, 2 to 3 inch, 3 to 4 inch, 4 to 5 inch, or 5 to 6 inch sizes. The outside micrometer is used by the mechanic more often than any other type. It may be used to measure the outside dimensions of shafts, thickness of sheet metal stock, diameter of drills, and for many other applications. The smallest measurement which can be made with the use of the steel rule is only 64 of an inch in common fraction and 1/100th of an inch in decimal fraction. To measure more closely than this, in bracket in thousand and 10,000 of an inch, a micrometer is used if dimension given in a common fraction is to be measured with the micrometer. The fraction must be converted to its decimal equivalent. All four types of micrometer are read in the same way. The method of reading an outside micrometer is discussed later. Micrometer parts. The fixed parts of micrometer are the frame, barrel, and anvil. The movable parts of a micrometer are the thimble and spindle. The thimble rotates the spindle, which moves in the threaded portion inside the barrel. Turning the thimble provides an opening between the anvil and the end of the spindle where the work is measured. The size of the work is indicated by the graduations on the barrel and thimble. Now reading a micrometer. The lines on the barrel marked 1, 2, 3, 4, etc. indicate measurements of length or 0.100 inch, 0.200 inch, 0.300 inch, 0.400 inch respectively. Each of the sections between the tenths division between 1, 2, 3, 4, etc. is divided into 4 parts of 0.025 inch each. One complete revolutions of the thimble from 0 on the thimble around to the same 0 moves it one of these divisions 0.025 inch along the barrel. The bevel edge of the thimble is divided into 25 equal parts. Each of these parts represents 1/25 of the distance. The thimble travels along the travel in moving from one of the 0.025 inch divisions to another. Thus, these divisions on the thimble represents 1/1000, 0.001 of an inch. These divisions are marked for convenience at every 5 spaces by 0, 5, 10, 15, and 20. When 25 of these graduations have passed the horizontal line on the barrel, the spindle, having made one revolution, has moved 0.025 inch. The micrometers is read by first noting the last visible figures on the horizontal line of the barrel representing tenths of an inch. Add to this the length of barrel between the thimble and the previously noted number. This is found by multiplying the number of graduation by 0.025 inch. Add to this the number of division in the bevel edge of the spindle that coincides with the line of the graduation. The total of three figures equals the measurement. This figure shows several simple readings. Now, vernier scale. Some micrometers are equipped with a vernier scale, which makes it possible to read directly the fraction of a division that may be indicated on the thimble scale. Typical examples of the vernier scale as it applies to the micrometer are shown in the figure. All three scales on a micrometer are not fully visible without turning the micrometer, but the examples shown in this figure are drawn as through the barrel and thimble of the micrometers were laid out flat so that all three scales can be seen at the same time. The barrel scale is the lower horizontal scale, the thimble scale is vertical on the right, and the long horizontal line, that is 0 through 9 and 0, make up the vernier scale. In reading a micrometer, an excellent way to remember the relative scale values is to remember that the 0.025 inch barrel scale graduations are established by the lead screw 40 threads per inch. Next, the thimble graduation divide the 0.025 inch into 25 parts, each equal to 0.001 inch. Then the vernier graduation divide the 0.001 inch into 10 equal parts, each equal to 0.0001 inch. Remembering the values of the various scale graduation, the barrel scale reading is noted. The thimble scale reading is added to it. Then the vernier scale reading is added to get the final reading. The vernier scale line to be read is always the one aligned exactly with any thimble graduation. In the first example, in figure, the barrel reads 0.275 inch and the thimble reads more than 0.019 inch. The number 1 graduation on the thimble is aligned exactly with the number 4 graduation on the vernier scale. Thus, the final reading is 0.2944 inch. In the second example, in figure, the barrel reads 0.275 inch and the thimble reads more than 0.019 inch and less than 0.020 inch on the vernier scale. The number 7 graduation coincides with a line on the thimble. This means that the thimble reading would be 0.0197 inch. Adding this to the barrel reading of 0.275 inch gives a total measurement of 0.2947 inch. The third and fourth example in the figure are additional readings that would require use of the vernier scale for accurate reading to 10,000 of an inch. Now, using a micrometer, the micrometer must be handled carefully. It is to be dropped. If it is a drop, its accuracy may be permanently affected. Continually sliding work between the anvil and spindle may wear the surfaces. If the spindle is tightened too much, the frame may be sprung permanently and inaccurate readings will result. To measure a piece of work with a micrometer, hold the frame of the micrometer in the palm of the hand with a little finger or third finger, whichever is more convenient. This allows the thumb and forefinger to be free to revolve the thimble for adjustments. Now, in using the micrometer, apart from the correctness of the zero reading of the instrument, accuracy depends upon the cleanness of the measuring faces and the components undergoing measurements. Temperature, instruments and components, and the correct method of manipulations are also extremely important factors for consideration. Now, first, temperature conditions. This have significant effect on measurement results. Ideally, for very accurate work with small tolerances, the instrument and component temperatures should be equal. The standard reference temperature is 68 degree Fahrenheit or 20 degree centigrade. Where this is not possible, the due allowance relevant to the coefficient of expansion of the material being measured should be made. Number 1, in this, under certain conditions, an insulating lacquer might be applied to the instrument to reduce the temperature from hand operation, and precaution might be taken to avoid the handling of components with bare hand. Some micrometers may be provided with plastic covering to the appropriate places to reduce the hand temperature effects. Fine measurements should not be made during fluctuation in ambient temperatures, in direct sunlight, or in the proximity of sources of heat. Number 2, when components are cleaned and afterwards dried with compressed air, chilling may result and cause temporary shrinkage. Therefore, sufficient time should be allowed to elapse to enable components to regain ambient temperature. Number 3, sometimes this micrometer is mounted in a suitable stand to reduce the amount of handling, and operators often wear gloves to minimize the handling of components undergoing measurement checks. Now, handling the micrometers. Ratchet attachments, that is in bracket band embodied, should always be used to ensure constant and correlated measurements. The sleeve should be turned gently at a constant rate toward the face being measured. Varying speeds of rotation will produce inaccurate readings. The average smaller size of micrometer will not comfortably in one hand. The thimble or ratchet attachment can be manipulated by the thumb and forefinger, and the little finger can be extended it to support the frame near to the anvil. Number 3, the instrument should not be set and forced over the micrometer dimensions. Such a practice will strain the micrometer screw and wear the measuring faces. For similar reasons, the micrometer should never be drawn along parallel faces. Part of this if these are rough or dirty. Now, micrometer maintenance. Good maintenance of micrometer is assured by the appreciation that the instrument is a precision one, that correct handling is essential, and the period dismantling, cleaning, adjustment, and testing related to the conditions and extent of the operation use is carried out systematically. Micrometer should never be left lying on duty benches, etc., but should be wiped clean after use and replaced in the instrument case provided. Note: some manufacturers commonly considerably number and color mark their instruments for identifications, periods of issue and maintenance. Records and checks and maintenance are maintained in the standards room of the inspection organizations. Classifications of is carried out for conditions, and micrometers are allotted to various grades of work. Example: rough, turning, grinding, view, room, etc. In some cases, dust-proof cupboards are provided for storage in the various workshops, and those are sometimes maintained at standard atmospheric temperature. Several distant positions and a special internally tapered ring nut is fitted. When the nut is turned clockwise with the spanner provided, it reduces the barrel screw diameter to suit the threaded diameter of the spindle screw. It should be borne in mind, however, that when the adjustment is made, the feel of the micrometer screw should be equal throughout the entire travel of the spindle. Now the micrometer testing, general testing. It will be appreciated that micrometers which have been adjusted and checked for measuring face flatness by slip gauges reading in various face positions and for parallelism by concentrically check in the anvil and the spindles will be sufficiently accurate for most measurements and tolerances in the assembly and construction of aircraft. Now final testing, micrometer which are to be used for small tolerance standard room or view room work should be tested to a final degree of accuracy. The following tests are flatness, parallelism and screw calibrations are recommendations from British Standard 870. Now flatness, this is best tested by means of optical flat through into contact with each face in turn. Imperfection will be shown to a number of colored interferences bands on the surfaces, and the number and shape of this will indicate the degree of flatness present. The specified tolerances for flatness is 0.00005 inches, and this is represented by a maximum number of 5 bands of similar color on either of the faces. Note: the bands are more distinct if the test is made in the light from a mercury vapor temperature, particularly if viewed through a green filter. Parallelism. For 0 to 1 inches micrometer, the test may be made by utilizing the same principle of optical interference. A number of optical flats of different thicknesses are used, the opposite faces being parallel as well as flat. These are positioned in turn between the measuring faces as if they were being measured, and the number of interferences hands on each face is noted by careful manipulation between the measuring surfaces. The number of bands on one face is reduced to a minimum, and those on the opposite face are then counted. If this total number of bands of similar color does not exceed 10, then the requirements of the standard are satisfied. In testing with optical flats at different thickness, the parallelism of the faces is checked in various angular positions. Generally, 4 flats are used with successive thickness variation of a quarter of 0.025 inches, and the tests are made in 4 positions during a complete turn of micrometer spindle. Larger micrometers up to 4 inches may be tested by the same method. 2 of the optical flats are run to the ends of a combination of slip gauges, and this combination is used as a parallel-ended test piece between the faces. The 4-position check is made with changes in the length of gauge combination by 0.006 inches or 0.007 inches in succession. For larger micrometers, the optical test is too sensitive in relation to tolerances. It is usual for test pieces to be made up in suitable lengths for each size of instrument. Steel balls of 1/8 inches or 3/16 inches dia are often soldered to the end of a 1/4 inch dia steel rod, and the test pieces are inserted between the measuring faces in various positions around their periphery. Variation in their measurements should not exceed the tolerance prescribed. Note: adjustable test pieces of this kind are often used to cover several sizes of micrometer. Now, calibration of the micrometer screw. Reading accuracy of 0 to 1 inches or 0.25 mm. Micrometers is usually checked by various readings on a series of slip gauges. These are chosen to test the micrometer not only at complete spindle turn but also at intermediate positions to cover inaccuracy in thimble graduations. The following series of gauges are suitable for progressive and periodic errors in the micrometer ranges: 0 to 1 inches micrometer, 0 to 105, 0 to 210, 0 to 315, 0 to 420, 0 to 50, 0 to 605, 0 to 710, 0 to 815, 0 to 920, and 1 to 1.000 inches. 0 to 25 mm micrometer, 2 to 5, 5 to 1, 2.5, 5.1, 7.7, 10.3, 12.9, 15.0, 17.6, 20.2, 22.8, and 25.0 millimeter. These series gives reading around the thimble twice over and also provide a double check on any periodic error which might exist. Note: for every accurate reading during such calibration, the thimble may be viewed under a microscope of low magnification. Now, in larger micrometers, the errors is transverse can be checked using slip gauges, as given above. Carefully clamping the instrument to the surface table or plate and fixing a temporary anvil with rounded face close to the face of the spindle, alternatively an indicator with sensitivity of at least 0.00005 inches can be used as a temporary anvil. If you are not understanding it, you can pause the video and go through each lines which I have read. Now the experiments based on micrometer. Here the aim is to measure diameter of a given wire using a screw gauge apparatus, screw gauge, wire, half meter scale, and magnifying lens. Theory: if with the wire between plane faces A and B, the edge of the cap lies ahead of nth division of linear scale. The linear scale reading LSR equals to capital N if nth small nth division of circular scale lies over the reference line. Then circular scale reading CSR equals to small n into LC, that is least count of a screw gauge. Total reading TR equals to LSR plus CSR equals to capital N plus small n into LC. Number 2, if D be the mean diameter and L small l be the mean length of the wire, volume of the wire capital V equals to pi in bracket capital D by 2 square into small t. Now procedure. Before that, see the figure. Now the procedure: find the value of one linear scale division LSD. Number 2, determine the pitch and the least count of the screw gauge and record it stepwise. Number 3, bring the plane face B in contact with the plane face A and find the zero error. Do it 3 times and record them. If there is no zero error, then record zero error nil. Number 4, move the face B away from face A. Place the wire lengthwise over face A and move the face B towards face A using the ratchet head R. Stop when R turns, slips without moving the screw. Number 5, note the number of division of the linear scale visible and uncovered by the edge of the cap. The reading capital N is called linear scale reading LSR. Number 6, note the number small n of the division of the circular scale lying over reference line. Number 7, repeat steps 5 and 6 after rotating the wire by 90 degrees for measuring diameter in a perpendicular direction. Number 8, repeat steps 4, 5, 6 and 7 to 5 for 5 different positions separately equally throughout the length of the wire. Record the observations in each set in a tabular form. Number 9, find total reading and apply zero correction in each case. Number 10, take mean of different values of diameter. Number 11, measure the length of the wire by stretching it along a half meter scale, keeping one end of wire at a known mark. Note the position of other end. Difference in position of the two ends of the wire gives the length of the wire. Do it 3 times and record them. Now observations. Number 1. Determination of least count of the screw gauge. 1 LSD equals to 1 mm. Number of full rotation given to screw equals to 4. Distance recovered by the distance moved by the screw equals to 4 mm, and pitch equals to small p equals to 4 mm by 4, which is equals to 1 mm. Now number of divisions on circular scale equals to 100, hence least count equals to 1 mm by 100, that is equals to 0.01 mm, which is equals to 0.001 centimeter. Hence least count now number 2, zero error, which will be taken 3 times, and the unit will be millimeter. Mean zero error, small e, which will be taken only 1 time, and it will be millimeter. Mean zero correction c, which will be equals to minus e, and it will be only 1 time, and it is millimeter. Now table for diameter capital D. Thank you for the watching. Do like to subscribe it, like it, and share it, and comment on it.